Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a stack of dense, critical source material, boil it down, and give you the foundational knowledge you need with the surprise facts and insights you won't forget.
Today, we are really getting into the very core of business, marketing management for the 21st century. And this isn't your grandfather's definition of marketing, not at all. This is a discipline that is, right now, navigating chaos, risk, and just unprecedented change.
That's right. Our mission today is to give you the blueprint for success in what our sources are calling the age of turbulence. We're going to go far beyond, just simple advertising. We want to extract that foundational knowledge, identify the critical shifts that demand a whole new kind of strategy, and really figure out why marketing is the engine that drives financial success.
It's such a critical topic. We're asking these core questions. Why is marketing so vital? What exactly is its scope these days? And of course, how has it completely changed since, say, the dot-com boom?
And it feels like the perfect time to explore this. The first decade of this century really forced companies to master this delicate balance between discipline and imagination.
Just to survive. That's the key. Just to stay in the game. If you rely on old management practices, it's just, well, it's a recipe for extinction in this kind of unforgiving economic environment.
I love that duality you mentioned, discipline and imagination. It's so true. Marketing has to be both an art and a science. It's got to blend that creative execution of new ideas, that's the art, with the careful, rigorous planning and, the state-of-the-art tools, that's the science.
It can't be accidental anymore. Success can't be a happy accident.
No. And the impact of great marketing, or let's be honest, terrible marketing, is just instantaneous now.
Oh, completely. The speed of information has raised the stakes dramatically for everyone.
And we see that power showing up in places that are far outside the traditional business world. I mean, think about political campaigns.
Like the 2008 Obama campaign, for sure.
It fundamentally changed how campaigns reach voters. Or, on the other side of the coin, look at the kind of rapid-fire disaster control you need during a social media crisis.
The Domino's video incident comes to mind. A classic, terrifying example.
Exactly. These extreme, high-profile examples, they really highlight marketing's power in shaping perception, managing consequences, and generating demand. And we are absolutely going to unpack those in depth today. So let's start at the most fundamental level. The sources we've reviewed argue that the core functions of a business, finance, operations, accounting, they almost matter less without demand. That, to me, sounds a little counterintuitive. Why is that?
Well, it's simple organizational physics, really. Finance, operations, accounting, they're all focused on efficiency. They're focused on managing the cost structure.
Right, managing the money going out.
Exactly. They manage existing resources and try to minimize the outflow of money. But they are completely 100% dependent on the inflow, the top-line revenue.
Which comes from customers.
So without marketing effectively generating and stimulating that demand, the flow of customers and cash just dries up. If there's no sufficient demand, there can be no profit, no bottom line. Marketing is the engine responsible for generating the revenue stream that lets the rest of the company even function.
So good marketing isn't just a department. It's basically job security for the entire organization. If that engine stalls, the whole supply chain just grinds to a halt.
That's the simplest way to put it. And, beyond the immediate profit margin, marketing's role has this much broader societal context.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's responsible for introducing new products and services that can genuinely enrich lives, and then gaining public acceptance for them. By looking for better ways to meet customer needs, marketing actually inspires product enhancements. It spurs innovation.
And the demand it generates creates jobs.
It creates jobs. And it enables firms to engage in socially responsible activities because, and this is the critical part, they can now afford to.
Right. I think we sometimes forget that connection between a successful marketing campaign and the ability of a company to, say, fund a scholarship program or launch a big recycling initiative. You need that cash flow first.
You absolutely do. And speaking of value, CEOs are really finally recognizing that marketing is responsible for building a firm's most critical, intangible assets.
You mean things like brand and customer loyalty?
Exactly. Strong brands and fiercely loyal customer bases. These assets contribute so heavily to the overall market value of a firm, often exceeding the value of physical assets like machinery and inventory.
And we're seeing this power shift reflected institutionally too, aren't we?
We are. The emergence and the growing prominence of the Chief Marketing Officer, the CMO, it places marketing leadership on an equal footing with other C-level executives, like the Chief Financial Officer or the Chief Information Officer. It's a serious seat at the strategy table.
Which it should be.
It proves that marketing decisions, like what features to design, what prices to set, where to sell, are now intrinsically linked to the long-term value of the entire company.
Okay, so let's look at a case study that shows the explosive power of marketing when that discipline really meets imagination. The 2008 Obama presidential campaign. The source material we have calls this a masterclass in modern marketing.
It truly was a benchmark for what we now call integrated marketing. They had three elements working in perfect harmony: a charismatic politician, a powerful unifying message of hope, and a thoroughly integrated modern marketing program that treated the whole campaign like a product launch.
What's so fascinating about their strategy to me is that they had to achieve two inherently conflicting goals at the same time.
Right. On one hand, they needed to expand the electorate with these big, broad, appealing messages.
But on the other, they had to target incredibly specific audiences, like, say, single mothers in Ohio or young professionals in urban centers with very tailored communications.
And that's the modern marketing challenge in a nutshell. Mass customization of messaging. They achieve this sophisticated balance through all sorts of multimedia tactics. For instance, when their research discovered that the more voters learned about Obama, the more they identified with him, they added these long-form videos alongside the traditional short-form ads.
So they adapted based on real-time data on voter engagement.
Constantly adapting. But the true innovation, the real nerve center of the entire operation, was their digital strategy.
It was the central nervous system, as the sources put it.
It was. The internet was not just some side channel for fundraising. It was the integrated hub for PR, for advertising, for organizing across all 50 states, and yes, for fundraising. The guiding philosophy was, I think, a breakthrough idea.
Which was?
Build online tools to help people self-organize and then get out of their way.
That concept, empowerment over control, that is a fundamental shift in how organizations should be approaching the digital world, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And the results, I mean, they were just stunning and completely undeniable. The campaign raised approximately $500 million online.
And the majority of that was in small amounts.
The vast majority came in sums under $100, sourced from 3 million individual donors. And the digital platform they built, myBarackObama.com, it facilitated the organization of 35,000 local groups.
And the other data points really just sell the story here.
Think about the scale of it. 1,800 videos posted to YouTube. They had Facebook's most popular page at the time. And they built this massive, immensely valuable 13.5 million name email list. This wasn't just a success. It was a demonstration that modern marketing, through these integrated digital tactics, could mobilize vast populations and fundamentally change a nation's outcome.
Okay, so that was the proactive side, a campaign leveraging connectivity for mobilization. Now let's pivot to the defensive side, where that same connectivity becomes a profound, even existential threat.
Right. The Domino's Pizza incident is the perfect, terrifying illustration of how quickly consequences can multiply in this internet-fueled environment.
It's the classic cautionary tale, isn't it?
It really is. In Conover, North Carolina, 2 Domino's employees, in just a moment of extraordinarily poor judgment, posted a YouTube video. It showed them preparing food while committing these disgusting health code violations. I mean, things like putting cheese up their noses.
It's just horrifying, and the response was instantaneous. You just can't put that digital genie back in the bottle.
You can't. In just a few days, that video had been downloaded more than 1 million times. It wasn't a local problem anymore. It was this massive global wave of negative publicity.
And it had a measurable impact on brand perception.
A huge impact. When the company ran perception research, they found the public's view of the brand's quality had shifted from positive to negative in less than a week. The brand damage was done before the leadership could even fully process what had happened.
They fired the employees immediately, of course, but that's like closing the barn door after the horse is already bolted, right? So how did Domino's manage to pull the brand back from the brink?
Well, they recognized that the only way out was to fight fire with fire. They had to respond swiftly, aggressively, and decisively using the exact same social media tools that caused the crisis in the first place.
So they didn't retreat, they didn't hide.
No, they jumped right onto Twitter and YouTube. They posted official responses, they expressed their disgust, and they clearly stated their commitment to quality. They faced it head-on.
So their saving grace was brand monitoring and immediate adaptation. They treated it as a marketing problem, not just an HR problem.
Exactly. They illustrated the non-negotiable importance of monitoring the conversation in real time and adapting your communications immediately. This case teaches every single brand that in the 21st century, every employee is a potential marketer, or a potential brand destroyer. And the company has to be prepared to integrate a rapid, transparent response right into its marketing strategy.
Okay, those case studies really set the boundaries for success and failure. Now let's dive into the core language. We need a crisp definition of marketing. What's the shortest, most powerful way to define it?
I think it's simply, meeting needs profitably.
That's very elegant and actionable. And when we look at successful companies, they follow this rule perfectly. eBay realized people needed an easier way to find and sell niche items, so they created a profitable online auction house.
Or IKEA. They saw a need for stylish, affordable furniture, and they profitably met that need with their knockdown furniture. It's a simple formula.
So what's the formal definition?
Well, if we look at the one from the American Marketing Association, it confirms that focus on value exchange. It says, marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large.
Okay, that brings in the broader societal role. So we're distinguishing between the social definition, like, delivering a higher standard of living, and the more practical managerial definition.
The managerial definition is really what we focus on. It's that marketing management is the art and science of choosing target markets, and then getting, keeping, and growing customers through creating, delivering, and communicating superior customer value. It emphasizes choice and action.
And this is where that great Peter Drucker insight comes in. I just love how he completely flipped the traditional understanding of sales on its head.
It's the essential philosophical pivot of modern marketing. Drucker argued that selling is actually the least important part of marketing.
Which sounds crazy at first.
It does, but his point was that the real aim is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits them perfectly and basically sells itself.
Right. Think about companies that had massive success with very little initial promotion. The Nintendo Wii comes to mind.
The Wii, the original Canon ELPH digital camera, or the Toyota Prius, they weren't pushed onto the public. They were pulled by demand because they had done the meticulous marketing homework to design the right product for an underserved segment of the market. Tap,
Yeah.
what is marketed?
The 10 entities. Speaking of products, the scope of what is marketed is just vast. It's not just physical goods. The sources outline 10 main types of entities. Instead of just running down a checklist, let's focus on the ones that represent the biggest philosophical shifts in how we even define a product.
That's a good strategy. I mean, everyone understands goods, cars and food, and services like airlines or lawyers. And by the way, services now make up a staggering 70-30 mix versus goods in the U.S. economy.
Wow, that much.
Oh, yeah. But the surprising entities that are marketed, they show the true breadth of the discipline.
Okay, let's start with experiences and events. How on earth does a marketer sell an experience?
Well, an experience requires orchestrating services, goods, and locations to create something immersive and memorable. Think of Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. You aren't just buying rides, you're buying a fully orchestrated environment.
Or a fantasy camp.
Exactly. A customized 4-day rock and roll fantasy camp. That's a pure experience. And events, meanwhile, are time-based promotions. The Olympics, a huge trade show, a company's anniversary. The marketing challenge is capturing the fleeting nature of the event and translating it into enduring brand value.
What about places and persons? These feel very, very modern, like self-branding and city branding.
Absolutely. The marketing of persons, celebrity marketing, is critical for everyone from David Beckham to Oprah Winfrey, and even management consultant Tom Peters, who famously advises every professional to become a brand.
And cities are doing it too.
Fiercely. For places, cities and nations compete to attract tourists, residents, corporations. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority's "What Happens Here Stays Here" campaign marketed a very specific kind of freedom and adult playground experience.
That Las Vegas campaign is a brilliant example because it shows a marketer defining a perception, but then also having to defend it against external forces.
Precisely. That racy, freewheeling image got amplified by movies like The Hangover, and it actually made it difficult for them to attract serious business conventions.
So they had to pivot.
They had to pivot their marketing to defend the brand's reputation as a legitimate place for corporate meetings. It just shows that even when you're selling a location, it requires constant brand management.
And finally, let's touch on information and ideas.
Information is a massive industry. Books, schools, healthcare, IT. A company like Solutions USA, for instance, clarifies that its true product is the electronic patient record, not the X-ray machine. It's packaged knowledge.
And ideas.
Ideas are fundamental. Every single offering includes a basic idea. Revlon didn't sell cosmetics, they famously sold hope. And social marketing pushes socially desirable behaviors, like the classic Friends Don't Let Friends Drive Drunk campaign. Every physical product is, at its core, a vehicle for an idea. Hashtag demand management and markets.
All of these entities require active demand management. The marketer is seeking a response, a purchase, a vote, a donation from what they call the prospect.
Right. And the central challenge is that demand is never static. It's always in flux.
And this is where we get to the famous 8 demand states. This list is so crucial because a marketer has to identify which state they're in before they can even think about choosing a strategy.
Agreed. Let's walk through them, but let's connect them to the action that's required. First, you have negative demand. Consumers actively dislike the product. Think dental work.
Or mandatory insurance, maybe.
Exactly. The action required is conversion marketing. You've got to try to turn that aversion into acceptance.
Okay, what's next?
Non-existent demand. The target audience is just unaware or completely uninterested, so you need stimulation marketing to show the relevance of the product.
Then you have latent demand. This one feels like the holy grail for an innovator.
It is. It's a strong need that is unsatisfied by any existing product. The action here is developmental marketing, actually developing the solution. This is how the Toyota Prius came into existence.
And then there's declining demand, where people are buying less.
That requires remarketing to creatively revive the product. Think about how vinyl records were remarketed to audiophiles.
What about when demand is all over the place?
That's irregular demand. Purchases vary seasonally or even hourly, like for public transit or movie theaters. This requires synchro marketing using flexible pricing and promotion to smooth out those peaks and valleys.
Then there are the 3 full states.
Right. Full demand is when you're adequately satisfying all current demand. The goal is maintenance marketing, just monitoring quality and satisfaction to keep competitors at bay. Then there's overfull demand, where more people want to buy than you can satisfy.
This sounds like a good problem to have.
It can be, but it requires demarketing, finding ways to reduce demand temporarily, maybe by raising prices, without alienating your loyal customers.
And the last one.
Unwholesome demand. Consumers are attracted to products with undesirable social consequences, like cigarettes. This requires counter-marketing, an effort to destroy demand completely.
That whole spectrum shows that marketing is often remedial. It's about fixing problems or managing capacity, not just about growth.
In the 21st century, the CMO is often a crisis manager. You have to be incredibly adaptive.
And who are we managing all this for? That brings us to the structure of the markets themselves. We're moving from the idea of a physical marketplace to this economic collection of buyers and sellers.
And there are 4 key customer markets that marketers segment their base into, and each one has a unique strategic challenge.
What are they?
First, consumer markets. Here, you're focused on building a strong brand image, an emotional connection, and making sure your product is widely available.
Okay, B2C. What about B2B?
That's business markets. Here, the sale is rational, it's professional. The marketer has to demonstrate very clearly how their product will generate higher revenue or lower cost for the buyer's business.
Then you have to go global.
Which is global markets. This means dealing with massive complexity, legal, political, cultural, currency hurdles. Product adaptation is absolutely key. And finally, you have nonprofit and governmental markets, which have limited purchasing power and usually focus on low-bid, practical solutions. Hashtag marketplaces, market spaces, and meta markets.
Okay, let's make that great transition from the physical to the digital world. The marketplace is the physical store. The market space is the internet. But the most insightful modern concept here has to be the meta market.
Northwestern University's Mohan Sawhney coined that term. And a meta market is a cluster of complementary products and services that are spread across diverse industries but are very closely related in the consumer's mind.
So it acknowledges that consumers don't just want a single product, they want to solve a complex problem.
Precisely. The classic example is the automobile meta market. Buying a car involves manufacturers, dealers, financing, insurance, maintenance, registration. It's dozens of services across multiple industries.
And the genius of the meta market concept is that it led directly to the solution.
The metamediary. A metamediary, like Edmunds.com for car buyers, assists the consumer in moving seamlessly through all of these related activities. They simplify the whole complex process by offering car features, prices, dealer locations, and financing links all in one place. They package the entire system to reduce the friction of a complex purchase. Hashtag core marketing concepts.
Okay, let's drill down to the most fundamental language. The relationship between needs, wants, and demands. Marketers are constantly criticized for creating needs. Is that a fair critique?
No. The sources we looked at are definitive on this. Marketers do not create needs. Basic human requirements for air, food, water, security, belonging, they pre-exist the marketer. These are deep-seated human realities.
Wait, but isn't that just semantics? When Nintendo launched the Wii, they created a desire for motion-controlled gaming that never existed before. If that isn't creation, what is it?
That's where the distinction between needs and wants becomes so critical. The need pre-existed. The need for recreation, for play, for entertainment, for social connection. What Nintendo did was shape the want.
Ah, I see.
Needs become wants when they're directed towards specific objects or forms of satisfaction. And those wants are shaped by society, by culture, and yes, by the marketer's influence. A U.S. consumer needs food, but wants a Philly cheesesteak. That's a cultural preference.
So marketers influence the form that the satisfaction takes. And the final piece of this puzzle is demands.
Demands are wants for specific products that are backed by the ability and the willingness to pay. This is the reality check. Many people may want the newest Tesla, but only a few have the genuine market demand to actually purchase it.
And the sources highlight that customers often can't even fully articulate those deep needs. You have to probe past the surface level request.
This is one of the most sophisticated parts of modern research. If a customer says, "I want an inexpensive car," that's what we call the stated need.
But that's not the whole story.
Not even close. The astute marketer knows that the real need is probably for a car with low operating costs. The unstated need is the expectation of good dealer service. The delight need is that pleasant surprise like if the dealer includes a free GPS system.
And what's the secret need?
That's the need the customer won't admit, like wanting their friends to see them as a savvy, environmentally conscious consumer. If a marketer only responds to that stated need for an inexpensive car, they will inevitably shortchange the customer and probably lose the sale.
And that superior value is delivered through the crucial process of segmentation, targeting, and positioning, or STP.
STP is the strategic roadmap. Segmentation divides the market into manageable groups based on differences. Then you choose the segments with the greatest opportunities. Those are your target markets. And finally, you position your offering in the minds of those target buyers as delivering some central, unique benefit. Volvo, for instance, has always positioned its cars around the core benefit of safety.
Once you're positioned, the firm defines the offering and the brand.
The value proposition is that set of core benefits. This proposition is then made physical by the offering, which can be a combination of products, services, information, and experiences. And the brand is simply that offering from a known source, which is imbued with all the associated images and feelings, like how McDonald's implies consistency and speed globally.
And to get that value to the customer, you rely on marketing channels. The sources outline 3 crucial types.
3 types that have to work in concert. First, communication channels used to deliver and receive messages from mass media to dialogue channels like blogs. Second, distribution channels used to display, sell, or deliver the physical product. And third, service channels used to facilitate the transactions banks, insurance companies, transportation, and so on.
And all those channels rely on the supply chain, which is this massive network linking everyone together.
That's right. It stretches from raw materials all the way to the final buyers. And every single company in that chain is trying to capture a percentage of the total value that's generated by the whole system.
And every player in that chain faces competition, which is defined very broadly in this new environment.
It includes all actual and potential rivals, and critically, all substitute products. If U.S. Steel only looks at other steel companies, they're missing the long-term threat from aluminum from Alcoa or engineered plastics from Sabic, which can reduce car weight and improve fuel efficiency. Substitutes are often the most dangerous long-run competitors.
Finally, framing all of this activity is the marketing environment,
which we define on 2 levels. The task environment is the immediate operational world. The company, its suppliers, its distributors, its customers. But the broad environment is those 6 massive external forces that marketers have to constantly monitor. Demographic, economic, social cultural, natural, technological, and political legal.
We've established the foundational language. Now let's confront the new reality head-on. The marketplace has been irrevocably changed in the last decade, driven by, well, the sources list 12 key societal forces. Instead of just listing them, let's talk about the 2 or 3 most disruptive forces that have fundamentally shifted the power balance.
I would argue that the convergence of network information technology and consumer information is the single most destabilizing factor of them all.
Why those 2 combined?
because information technology allows for more accurate production and more targeted communication from the company's side. But giving consumers vast, deep access to information at the exact same time empowers them to compare prices globally, 24/7. This pairing created the third major force, consumer buying power.
So the company gets better tools, but the consumer gets transparency and leverage. That sounds like a bit of a zero-sum game for the marketer.
In many ways, yes. The rise of user-generated content thriving on social media, on review sites, specialized sites like carspace.com, it means the consumer's voice is amplified. This leads directly to another critical force, consumer participation. They're influencing peer and public opinion.
So companies now have to invite participation just to stay relevant.
They do. They have to invite it in designing and marketing their offerings just to keep the customer engaged. And that participation, combined with greater price sensitivity, leads to the 12th force, consumer resistance.
What do you mean by that?
Customers are showing less brand loyalty, and they are far less tolerant of aggressive, undesired marketing. A study by Yankelovich found record levels of consumer resistance, showing that when products feel overmarketed, people will actively avoid them.
Okay, let's touch on three other major forces that change the competitive structure: globalization, deregulation, and industry convergence.
Globalization means your competitors are no longer just across town, they are across the planet. And deregulation and privatization, loosening laws in telecom or utilities, or converting public companies like British Airways to private ownership, it just intensifies this competition.
And industry convergence is where things get truly messy for strategists.
It's the blurring of boundaries. Computing, consumer electronics, and entertainment used to be separate industries. Now they are all converging, driven by digital technology. You see it with Apple, Sony, and Samsung releasing streams of intertwined devices. Marketers suddenly have to compete with companies they never even considered rivals 5 years ago.
And finally, let's acknowledge the radical change in retail itself.
Retail transformation is crucial. Store-based retailers are being hammered by e-commerce. Their only defense, as we saw with Dick's Sporting Goods, is to market an experience, turning shopping into entertainment with things like indoor golf ranges. And of course, the cycle of disintermediation and reintermediation, Amazon taking out the middlemen, and then traditional companies responding with brick-and-click models, has made distribution strategies far more complex and costly. Hashtag new company capabilities responding to change.
These societal forces are intense, but they didn't leave companies defenseless. They also armed companies with a whole set of powerful new capabilities. It's like the counterpunch to all this turbulence.
Absolutely. The ability to harness these new capabilities is the difference between surviving and dominating. We can group them by strategic function, information, customization, and reach.
Okay, let's start with information and data management.
Companies can now gather fuller, richer information and assemble these incredibly detailed databases on individual customers. This is why loyalty programs are so potent. The CVS Extra Care program, for instance, uses loyalty card data to understand preferences, which help them net an additional 30 million shoppers and drive $12 billion in annual revenue.
And that data drives better targeting.
It drives permission marketing, sending customized ads only to customers who have explicitly requested them. That increases efficiency dramatically.
And how has communication and reach changed for companies?
Well, the internet as an information and sales channel allows marketers to augment their geographical reach worldwide with a very low barrier to entry. We saw that amazing example of Sammy Stevens, the flea market owner in Alabama, whose $1,500 rap ad went viral and got national attention.
That's the power of digital reach.
It is. Furthermore, companies can tap social media to amplify their brand message. Dell's @DellOutlet Twitter account, for example, generated millions in revenue simply by using that platform for real-time deals and coupons.
I find the capability of facilitating external communication through buzz particularly interesting. It feels like the company is sort of harnessing chaos.
They're channeling organic word of mouth. There's an agency called Bees Agent that helped Dunkin' Donuts launch their Latte Light. They deployed 3,000 trained volunteers who just engaged in natural conversations about it. This is marketing without advertising, and it led to sales increases of over 15% in those test markets.
And then there's mobile.
Mobile marketing is huge, sending targeted coupons using GPS technology when consumers are near the point of sale. You're capturing the customer at the exact moment of decision.
The most profound shift, though, has to be the ability to individualize the product itself, selling individually differentiated goods.
This is the ultimate expression of meeting individual wants. Factory customization enabled by technology, allows for personalized products, whether it's M&M candies with unique messages or Heinz ketchup bottles with your photo on them.
BMW is the master of this.
They are. Their technology allows buyers to design their own cars from hundreds of options, leading to 30% of cars bought in the U.S. being built to order. This capacity to listen and deliver a personalized product has massive implications for customer loyalty.
And finally, these capabilities also streamline internal operations, don't they?
Absolutely. Capabilities like improving internal communication through corporate blogs like Patagonia's The Cleanest Line or speeding up internal communication using intranets. It all ensures that marketing principles are communicated efficiently throughout the organization, which ties perfectly into this idea of holistic marketing.
The intensity of these new realities force a major philosophical shift in how companies approach marketing. Before the modern era, marketing was often just an afterthought. We should probably review those four preceding kind of limiting concepts.
We start with the oldest, the production concept. This holds that consumers prefer products that are widely available and inexpensive. So the focus is purely on high efficiency, low costs, and mass distribution. This strategy can work well in commodity markets or developing countries.
But the danger there is pretty obvious. You're completely ignoring the customer.
Exactly, which leads to the product concept. This says consumers favor products with the most quality, performance, or innovative features. The danger here is what we call the better mousetrap fallacy, believing a superior product will just sell itself.
A great product still needs a strategy.
A technically brilliant product still needs proper pricing, distribution, and critically advertising to succeed.
Then we get to the philosophy that a lot of people mistakenly think is marketing, the selling concept.
The selling concept holds that customers won't buy enough unless they're coaxed, usually through aggressive hard selling. This is typically practiced with unsought goods, like insurance, or when a firm has overcapacity. It's incredibly risky because it focuses on the seller's need to shift inventory, not on the buyer's needs.
Which brings us to the breakthrough idea in the mid-1950s, the marketing concept.
This was it, the customer-centered, sense-and-respond philosophy. The job is no longer finding the right customers for your products. The job is finding the right products for your customers. It redefines success as being more effective than your competitors at creating, delivering, and communicating superior customer value to your target markets.
Theodore Levitt's contrast sums it up perfectly.
It does. Selling focuses on the seller's need for cash. Marketing focuses on satisfying the buyer's needs. Hashtag the holistic marketing concept, the new philosophy.
That legacy concept still feels a little siloed, though. We need a philosophy that addresses the reality of the age of turbulence, where competition, data, and communication are all integrated. And that's where the holistic marketing concept comes in.
Holistic marketing is the 21st century solution. It recognizes the profound breadth and all the interdependencies of marketing activities. It insists that everything matters in marketing, requiring this broad, integrated perspective that reconciles the entire scope and complexity of the modern firm.
And this concept is characterized by four broad components that have to be managed all at once. It's truly a case where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Those are the four pillars: relationship marketing, integrated marketing, internal marketing, and performance marketing. Hashtag deep dive into holistic components.
Okay, let's start with relationship marketing. The goal here is building deep, mutually satisfying, long-term relationships with key constituents. Who are these key players?
There are four key groups: customers, employees, marketing partners like channels and suppliers, and the financial community. The ultimate outcome is a marketing network, the company and all its supporting stakeholders with whom it has built profitable relationships. The mantra is, build an effective network, and the profits will follow.
This is where that idea of customer centricity really comes to life. It's not just about transactions, it's about lifetime value.
Precisely. We saw this with the Royal Bank of Canada. They used data to segment their 11 million clients and discovered this high-value segment they called snowbirds, Canadians who wintered in Florida.
So instead of just trying to acquire a new customer,
which costs 5 times more, they focused on retention. RBC created a customized Canadian banking experience in Florida, cementing loyalty with this highly profitable segment. Relationship marketing is all about prioritizing where you spend your energy based on long-term value.
that relationship strategy only works if the message is consistent, which leads us directly to integrated marketing.
Integrated marketing is about ensuring that all your activities and programs reinforce and complement each other. The whole has to be greater than the sum of its parts. You can't have a fantastic ad campaign that is then contradicted by a terrible in-store experience.
The launch of the modernized MI&I Cooper in 2002 is the quintessential example of this.
It was magnificent. BMW didn't just run television spots. They used this imaginative, integrated strategy that blended traditional billboards with highly creative product placement.
Like putting the car on top of an SUV.
Exactly. Placing the tiny car atop these massive Ford Excursion SUVs to emphasize its size, or even using them as seats in a stadium. They paired this with PR in a sophisticated website. That integrated, consistent message across every single touchpoint resulted in a 6-month waiting list before the car even officially launched.
And that integration also has to apply to the channels themselves.
Yes. An integrated channel strategy means assessing how your direct channels, like online sales, interact with and improve your indirect channels, like retailers. They have to work together.
Now we get to the pillar that is, I think, most often overlooked: internal marketing. This shifts the focus inward.
Internal marketing is all about hiring, training, and motivating able employees who serve customers well. It's about ensuring that everyone in the organization embraces marketing principles. If your employees don't believe the brand promise, your customers never will. Marketing is a company-wide undertaking.
The source material uses Snowshoe Mountain Ski Resort as a great example of institutionalizing that belief.
It's a perfect case. Snowshoe Mountain wanted to market an authentic, rustic, and engaging wilderness experience. So to ensure every customer interaction delivered on that promise, they started inside. They defined 7 specific attitude words for employees. They created a 40-page brand book, and they required all new hires to get a brand presentation from the marketing director.
So if the frontline staff aren't motivated, your whole relationship marketing strategy fails.
It completely falls apart. This requires both vertical alignment, meaning senior management has to buy in, and horizontal alignment with other departments. An airline's marketing VP can be completely stymied if the maintenance, catering, or finance departments are all prioritizing cost-cutting over the customer experience.
And finally, we arrive at performance marketing. This is the metric layer. It insists that we look beyond just sales revenue.
Performance marketing requires marketers to understand the financial and the non-financial returns. They have to track a holistic scorecard. Sales, yes, but also market share, customer retention rates, customer satisfaction scores, and product quality. Financial accountability is non-negotiable now.
And crucially, this pillar integrates social responsibility marketing.
Marketers must consider the ethical, environmental, legal, and social context of their activities. The organizational task is to satisfy target markets effectively, while also preserving or enhancing society's long-term well-being. This isn't just PR, it's a core strategy.
Ben & Jerry's is the definitive model for this shift, moving toward what's called the triple bottom line.
They moved from a double bottom line, so financial profit plus environmental impact, to the triple bottom line concept, adding social impacts to the equation. Stonyfield Farm, the organic yogurt maker, adopted similar principles. They invested in wind farms and dropped plastic lids to save 1 million pounds of plastic a year.
And the remarkable thing is they did this while still becoming the #3 yogurt brand in the U.S.
It proves that social responsibility doesn't have to be a drag on profitability. It can actually be a driver of it. Hashtag, updating the 4 Ps.
Okay, so given the breadth of holistic marketing, the traditional framework of the marketing mix, McCarthy's 4 Ps, product, price, place, promotion, it's clearly too limited, feels dated. We need a framework that reflects the complexity we've just discussed.
The traditional Ps are tools, but the holistic concept requires a broader, more integrated framework. So we look to the updated 4 Ps for modern marketing management: people, processes, programs, and performance.
Let's analyze why these new Ps are superior and how they align with the holistic concept we've been talking about.
Okay, first, people. This directly reflects the importance of internal marketing. Marketing is only as effective as the people inside the organization, the employees. It also recognizes consumers broadly as people, not just anonymous shoppers, which necessitates relationship marketing.
Okay, that makes sense. What about processes?
This reflects the creativity, discipline, and structure brought to marketing management. It's about instituting structures to avoid ad hoc planning and ensuring that long-term relationship building and breakthrough product generation are managed effectively. This addresses the science side of the art and science requirement.
And programs.
Programs encompasses all the firm's consumer-directed activities. It's the old 4PS plus, online, offline, and non-traditional marketing. But the crucial element is that these activities have to be integrated, so the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, which directly reinforces the integrated marketing pillar.
And finally, performance.
Performance captures the full range of outcomes. Financial results, yes, but also non-financial metrics like brand equity and customer satisfaction, and the essential societal, ethical, and legal implications. It completely integrates that performance marketing pillar into the core framework.
The power of this new framework is its ability to align managers across different disciplines. The old product P was kind of owned by manufacturing, but the new performance P requires input from finance, HR, and R&D.
Exactly. It forces horizontal alignment. If the company has to measure performance beyond just profit, then every department responsible for quality, employee satisfaction, and environmental impact is now intrinsically part of the marketing function. The updated 4Ps are truly a universal management structure, not just a marketing tool. Okay, let's apply this holistic lens to some of the titans of industry, starting with Nike. Their journey started with this razor-sharp core identity. High-quality running shoes designed by athletes for athletes. That core identity, driven by founder Phil Knight, was their absolute foundation. They leveraged what they call the pyramid of influence strategy. They focused intensively on endorsing a small percentage of top athletes runners like Steve Prefontaine and later, of course, Michael Jordan, in order to influence the mass consumer market below.
And the bet on Jordan was just massive, wasn't it?
It paid off exponentially. The Air Jordan line hit revenues of over $100 million in the first year alone. That success then fueled the eventual launch of the iconic Just Do It campaign in 1988, which was a simple but incredibly powerful message that connected the company's spirit of self-empowerment to a whole generation.
But when they went global, they ran into a pretty significant cultural hurdle.
They did. Their aggressive, high-energy U.S.-style ads were seen as abrasive and arrogant in Europe. So Nike had to execute this brilliant pivot to achieve authenticity. They focused heavily on soccer football sponsoring local youth leagues and national teams, and their commitment paid off when the Brazilian national team, one of the few Nike sponsored at the time, won the 1994 World Cup.
That transformed them from just a sneaker company into a symbol of emotion and allegiance internationally.
It was a masterclass in global relationship building. By 2003, their overseas revenues surpassed their U.S. revenues for the very first time. And they successfully expanded into new categories using the same endorsement model. Tiger Woods in golf, changing the fashion of the greens. Federer and Nadal in tennis, creating these massive brand moments on center court.
They also proved the power of social causes, blending performance marketing with activism.
The partnership with Lance Armstrong's Live Strong campaign is remarkable. Nike designed, manufactured, and sold over 70 million of those yellow bracelets, netting $80 million for the foundation. They integrated Armstrong's message of survival and willpower directly into their commercial series, creating this incredibly powerful emotional tie.
And technologically, they leveraged their capabilities to build the world's largest running club.
The Nike Plus partnership with Apple, using a sensor and receiver to track mileage, pace, and calories, created a massive global interactive community around the brand. They even hosted a global virtual human race 10K. This move wasn't just product development, it was active relationship marketing on a global scale.
Now, here's a fascinating tension that relates directly to that performance marketing pillar. They're actively environmentally friendly, they recycle shoes, but they refuse to promote it. Why is that?
This is a powerful insight into brand consistency. Executives feel that promoting their eco-friendly efforts would distract from their core brand image. Nike is fundamentally about winning, about slick technology, and about athletic dominance.
So promoting the environmental good might soften that image.
In their view, it risks softening that image. It highlights the difficult strategic choices firms have to make when different facets of the holistic marketing concept like brand equity versus social responsibility come into direct conflict.
Our second case study, Google, operates on a completely different philosophical premise but achieves similar dominance. Their mission is almost altruistic: to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Paired with their founding credo, don't be evil.
Google quickly became the ultimate metamediary, but their business model is deceptively simple. 97% of its revenue is driven by online advertising. Their strategy is fundamentally to monetize attention by organizing information better than anyone else on the planet.
So let's explain their twin revenue engines, AdWords and AdSense.
AdWords is their search ad program. It sells space linked to keywords via auction on search result pages. And advertisers only pay when a user actually clicks. AdSense is their distribution network. It allows virtually any third-party website to display targeted Google ads related to the content of that site, generating revenue for the publisher every time a visitor clicks.
And they provide tremendous value for advertisers through data, which ties directly into the need for performance marketing accountability.
They offer Google Analytics for free, which provides these custom dashboards detailing how visitors found a site, what they clicked on, and how they behaved. This data allows for real-time optimization, what they call marketing asset management. Discount Tire used analytics to fix site problems that were causing purchase abandonment and saw a 14% increase in sales within a week. That ability to optimize immediately is priceless. Their strategy of constantly creating and distributing new products for free, like Android, Google Voice, or Gmail, it seems counterintuitive for a company focused on profit. But their goal is to create new advertising space. Every free product, whether it's a desktop application, a mobile operating system, or a web product, is a new platform for monetization. They aggressively move products from Google Labs to beta and then to gold status, constantly expanding their ecosystem and, critically, their data collection points.
And this leads to their aggressive mobile strategy.
Their biggest bet was Android, a free, open-sourced mobile platform. They knew they couldn't beat Apple by selling a phone, so they bet on making billions in mobile advertising by expanding the total number of people using smartphones globally. This is industry convergence in action, betting on services and data against physical infrastructure.
Google's dominance is just staggering. They achieved massive brand power and $86 billion value in 2008 while spending very little on traditional advertising.
Their success is a testament to the power of the product concept combined with the holistic concept. They prioritized information utility and used technology to facilitate perfectly targeted attention selling. #outro. #synthesis and key takeaways.
This has been an incredibly intensive deep dive. We've seen that 21st century marketing is defined by its massive breadth, from mobilizing political movements to managing global data networks, and from satisfying core human needs to navigating these digital metamarkets.
The critical shift, and the core takeaway for you, the learner, is the overwhelming move toward holistic marketing. This philosophy demands integration and accountability. It requires nurturing long-term relationships through relationship marketing, ensuring consistency through integrated marketing, motivating your own employees through internal marketing, and measuring success through performance marketing, looking beyond profit at the social and environmental impact.
And the practical blueprint for navigating this age of turbulence is adopting those updated 4 Ps: people, processes, programs, and performance. Understanding how these align across your entire organization provides the fundamental framework for successful marketing management today. Final provocative thought.
We debated that age-old philosophical question of whether marketers create needs or merely satisfy them, and we concluded that marketers primarily influence wants and satisfy pre-existing needs.
But let's circle back to those new company capabilities we discussed, specifically mass customization. The personalized Heinz bottles, the built-to-order BMWs, or the highly targeted ads driven by loyalty card data. Marketers can now probe for those deep, latent, or secret needs that the customer may not even realize they have until the perfect, customized solution is offered to them.
Which raises a fascinating philosophical question for you to mull over. When a firm uses sophisticated data and technology to design a product specifically to meet a deep, latent need that the customer couldn't even express until that solution was placed in their hands, does the act of personalized design blur the line between satisfying an existing need and effectively creating a brand new desire?
Something to think about the next time you interact with a product that feels like it was made just for you. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.